Hey everybody, my name is Miguel Weaverling and this is my soil site survey project. For site 1, I have a cornfield sample. I have a family friend of mine who owns a farm and they were nice enough to let me come and take a sample. Uh, the corn was harvested not that long ago in October. This sample was very easy to collect. It was super soft soil. I have my coordinates of where I was at and the address. I only came up with one soil type, which was Hambrook Sandy Loam, and farmers that own the place, they kind of gave me a good idea of what I was getting myself into. I didn't want to dig too deep, as you can tell from the typical profile. I stayed around that 0 to 10 inch range, given that sandy loam. Texture rating came up as sandy loam, no surprise there. I have my maps and I have my regular map and my topographic map of where I was at. I have my ribboning from this sample. I decided to do videos instead of pictures for this just because I thought it might be a little bit easier. I did want to skim through these for the presentation aspect, just for the classmates to see the good stuff. I encourage Dr. Kidd to stay for the chunk of it, but I kind of just want to get down to it and get to the point. I didn't have to add a super amount of water to this soil sample. Compared to the other soil samples that I had, this one held water pretty well. I had to go little by little and knead it along the way, and ended up rolling a pretty good ball for me, which was great. Ball was successful. I got a pretty decent ribbon. It didn't ribbon as much as I thought it was going to. It actually really didn't ribbon much. It kind of broke off more than anything. I thought it was going to stick more because it felt pretty clay-like, but it ended up only ribboning just a little bit and staying in that sandy loam range with the measurements here. I did do the rest of the field with the palm. This was pretty smooth to start. It ended up getting pretty gritty towards the end. Even though it felt a little bit more gritty than when it started, it was still pretty moderate. It wasn't very large grits. It wasn't very big chunks in there at all. It was pretty smooth and silky when I added more water to it. There's my ribboning for my first sample. I have my suitabilities and limitations. No surprises here. Our areas are prime farmland. This area has been used recently, very recently, and was kind of rejuvenated in a sense. In other words, the previous farm owners, or the previous landowners, were not rotating crops like they should. This is just what I was told, they were not rotating crops and they were sucking nutrients out of the ground. So when they had their samples tested like professionally, they didn't come back too healthily. So from what I know from them, they've done a lot in the past couple years to really try to rejuvenate these fields for healthy crop. So no surprises here on the suitabilities and not so much limitations. For the additional information, I wanted to key point the drainage class of this soil. It's well drained, and I think that just goes to show the health aspect of what they've done with it. And this is just food for thought. I think that it's good to throw in there. I think that the available water capacity is good too. I think that it was a good rating there as well, especially for the Hambrook Sandy Loam. I think that I think that overall this soil held water well, and I just wanted to key point on that. For my second site, I have State Park. I went and took a soil sample close to the water. I wanted to get uh, some dirt from near some body of water of some sort and make it a little bit more interesting. I don't know why that kind of drew my attention, but I again have my coordinates and location. Again, this came up with one soil type, which was Puckum muck, and I don't know a whole lot much about muck, and I don't know if that's a good thing. In other words, I don't know if that's a great thing or a good thing or a bad thing that I got a muck sample. Maybe I went too close to the bank and got the wrong target, but this is what I ended up with, and I really didn't know what I was in for until I came home and did my tests on it. So, in other words, yeah, I got muck, and that's also what came up for the soil texture rating. Just muck in the AOI. Puckum muck frequently flooded, and I have my maps, my regular and my topographic map of where I was at this state park. I thought I was a good bit away, or like up from the bank. I thought that it might be more of a normal soil, but I guess we're dealing with muck. So we're gonna ribbon some muck in this video and see what that's like. This was already, to start out, it was a lot more sand-like, not as much aggregation as the other soil samples that I took. It kind of surprised me how much water I had to add to this. It seemed like the water was just running through it or just disappearing. I kept having to soak it in order to get any type of structure built with it. Rolling a ball was very hard. I was not able to roll a ball, but I kind of formed one with my fingers, kind of pushed it together. I don't know if that counts, but we got a ball. It came out to about 1 inches. It did not, here, so the whole thing. It did not ribbon at all, really. It kind of just grained out and turned into sand. Like, it did not stay together at all for a ribbon, so that was a little bit disappointing. I added more water to it, get that feel. This one felt a lot more grainy, more solid, a lot harder, a lot more organic matter in that soil. The grains in specific felt larger than the grains that I felt in the other soil, the first one. They felt more prominent, just bigger, just a lot of grit, very gritty. For suitabilities and limitations, we have a lot of seepage there. And I'm assuming that this is this says that it's very limited when I ran it according to pond reservoir areas. I'm not sure if that would be the correct description or the land classification to run that against for the suitabilities and limitations, but I figured that would be the closest. This came out to be very limited and not super suitable, which kind of came as a shock to me. Maybe that I'm not sure about that one. Additional information. I wanted to really key in on the water capacity, because that one shocked me a lot when I was doing the ribboning. uh, yeah, it just holds a lot of water, and I guess that's what the muck is for. That's what I've learned with this one. My third and final site is my favorite one. Was my favorite one to take. This one, actually, I had to wait on this one for the right day to come out here and do this. Here's one of our fairways at work, where I work at the golf course that I work at. Here's me and the rest of the crew doing some drainage pipe work in the middle of our fairway. This was kind of a perfect opportunity for me. I had asked my bosses about taking a sample from a fairway in the earlier weeks, but I ended up having to wait a bit for a chance to get a good sample, just because I can't go digging holes in our fairways whenever I want. So here I have the coordinates of where I was at, and get a good look here of the soil sample and the rest of what was going on. It had some big holes going, so not hard to get some dirt out of there. This one was very unique, and kind of was a little bit out of my range per se. We have Downer and Unicorn soils, Hamilton sandy loam, and Othello silt loams. And the Mid-Atlantic coastal plain. I'm guessing that means it's kind of more of a specialty, is what I'm assuming. Especially being from our fairways, it's got to be more of a specialty, I would think. I did put each individual description of the different soils that were listed, since this was my first soil sample that had more than one soil listed. Yeah. So for the soil texture and for the soil texture on these ones, I came up with the Downer and Unicorn soils ended up to be sandy loam, and the Hamilton sandy loam is sandy loam, obviously, and the Othello silt loams is a silt loam, obviously. These were very interesting to learn about and to experience firsthand. I'm not sure. Actually, I can't say that yet. Let's get into the next part. I'll save that for what comes after this ribboning. This one was, I had my mom help me, give me a hand with this one, with the watering. I didn't want to add too much water because I did that a bunch. Here I'm kind of trying to form this in a ball and keep as much of it as I can. This one too surprised me. It rolled into a ball very nicely. Kind of had a more clay-like appearance when I turned it into more of a putty, but with the ribboning here, I did not get a great ribbon with this one either. I thought that I might have gotten a little better, but actually that's when I messed up, so we'll skip past that one and there's the retry. This one was a little bit of a better ribbon. I did mess up on the first one again. I got a little bit more of a push off that one right there. That one felt good. I did get a measurement on those two. This one was close to the same, about 1.5 inches, and same thing, sticking with that sandy loam. I did do the field test as well.